So the Vintage 8 analog horrors are basically um, an ongoing narrative project that adds more and more elements to like an expanding universe each time that there's a series. And the basic way that I can describe it is if every conspiracy theory and every religious belief were true all at the same time, and it's crazy. So we know ghosts are real, demons are real. We know that people can be psychic. We know that God is real. Olympian gods are real. We know that angels are real. We know that there is a being at the end of time that is moving backwards in time to try and consume all of reality. We know that there are there are like hyper intelligent space viruses that have been plaguing the entire galaxy. We know that there are lizard people. We know that there are several different alien types that have infiltrated the Earth. We know that the internet is actually one computer that is sentient and hyper intelligent and plans to take over humanity in the future to keep it safe. Um, and yeah, it's wild. We watched It Lives in the Static last time, about a ghost that lives in like VHS tape static, which was fun. Um, yeah, it's been a weird set of series, but I've been very much enjoying it. The next one we will be watching is called The Children with Black Eyes. So, oh yeah, there's an entire. I also forgot about the cult around a sinkhole. So that's great. Oh, Gamer G, loving hoodies is like the ultimate trans girl stereotype. Once again, we're in Kate's Crossing, Louisiana, a nexus for strange events. Also, they're really upping the production value on these as we go along. I love that we're watching this in like a chronological order. Daniel Peterson missing. Damn, this one's hitting different. Harold's brother Greg Peterson, chief suspect. No, Greg Peterson given the death penalty. Claims the black-eyed children took Daniel and killed brother and sister-in-law. What? Beware the black-eyed children. Greg tried to warn us.
Much has been said about the murder of Wendy and Harold Peterson, the disappearance of their son Daniel, and the arrest of Harold's brother Greg Peterson. Some consider it an open and shut case of a robbery gone wrong. Others say Greg was jealous of the life his brother had. Many believe it was a fight that just got out of hand. And then there are those who believe that what happened that night was something else entirely, something not so easy to explain. For that story, we need to look at the journals of Daniel Peterson. Most of what he wrote seems to be the result of an overactive imagination. Perhaps there is more truth to these child stories than the ones we accept as fact. But we will let you be the judge.
Uncle Greg, Part 1. These are so good, dude.
Harold and Wendy Peterson were well known and well liked in the community. Harold
Okay, I just wanted to pause and say, like, I love how consistently each and every one of these has upped the production value and like done something different. You know, we had like the kind of the found footage new home for Mr. Barlington. You know, we had like a few other kind of like almost journal like ones, and then like we have this one, which is kind of a take on a true crime documentary, and I like that. I think this is really a neat thing you can do.
Harold was a very successful insurance agent, and many people in the community thought he was going to win his election for school board. Wendy was very involved with the Kate's Crossing Catholic Church, as well as many other local charities. Teachers said Daniel Peterson was a very shy, creative, and incredibly sweet child. He didn't have many friends and preferred to spend his lunches in the library. Daniel was also a victim of bullying. Despite his complaints, little was done. The administration's lax approach is what led Harold to run for school board.
Also, like, this is like, I know that this is like children's drawings, but like the layered effect that they just did, that takes effort, you know. I don't think we've seen that in these before.
September 8th. Today was another bad day. Jake and his idiot friends ambushed me in the bathroom. Again. They gave me another swirly. Now everyone is calling me Poo Poo Hair.
Oh. This is just the Binding of Isaac. Jake should have been a Snake Stevens.
I wish they'd leave me alone. I should tell Dad, but I hate the way he looks at me when I do. It's like he's ashamed that I can't defend myself. When he asked me how my day was, I just told him it was good. I did get the highest grade on the math test. I just made sure I showered before he got home.
Poured one
Uncle
out
Greg
for my
showed
Poo
up
Poo
at
Poo
dinner.
Hair.
I like Uncle Greg. He's so much more fun than Dad. I don't know why Dad calls him a hopeless bum. The good news, he's going to be staying with us for a few weeks. Best part is Dad will be focused on him and not me for a change.
Uncle Greg.
September 8th continued. Dad hammered Uncle Greg.
Huh?
I've never seen someone take so much abuse. I think he almost cried. Everybody went to bed not long after. That's when things got kinda weird.
How so? Yeah, a lot of these take place in or around the town of Kate's Crossing, or mention Kate's Crossing, and or the events around it. So like, Kate's Crossing is somewhat of a nexus for this series of like just a bunch of weird things happening, and they happen to take place around or in Kate's Crossing. We don't really know if there's a reason for that, if it's coincidental, or if there's like something more significant about that place. Oh, Crystal Hazer, I'm sorry to hear that.
Sometime around midnight, I heard something wandering around the kitchen. I went to check it out, but no one was there. The front door was open, though. I found Uncle Greg standing in the front yard just staring at the sky.
What? Uncle Greg knows too much. He's been to Riley. Where he dwells.
I really didn't know what to do, so I tried talking to him. I didn't want to ask Dad for help. I asked him what he was looking at. He didn't reply. He just pointed at the stars.
We're watching an analog horror series, Enzo.
I eventually got him back to his room. He didn't say anything until I got him back in bed. He looked at me and he was very scared. He said, "They've come back." I asked what came back. "You'll see," he replied before passing out. Why does this crap happen on a school night? Oh well, I have bigger problems to worry about. I need to figure out how to get through the day without ending up face first in the toilet. Again. September 9th. I asked Uncle Greg what he
I have
was
not
looking
seen
at last
Angel
night.
Hair.
I kind of got the
But I'll
sense
check
he
it
had
out.
no idea what I was talking about, though.
Just your average school night with your fun uncle going out and staring at the stars. Yeah, like this got voice work in it. This is great. Good stuff. Good old Funkle Greg. Articles provided by the Kate's Crossing Courier. Well, I'm invested.
When Harold started pulling in front of incumbent Mike Singer, the race for school board became incredible.
Wait, Mike Singer was also from the previous one, right? Mike Singer was from In the Static. It Lives in the Static. Mike Singer was one of the guys who I think he was having an affair with Crystal, that guy's ex-wife, right? Yeah, Mike was sleeping with Crystal, with Randall's ex-wife. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Cool. There's a lot of like interconnected people in these. Feel like I need to make like a flow chart.
Incredibly nasty. Singer had been on the board for the last decade and was generally liked. So it was a surprise to see so many voters give their support to the challenger. Neither were above making political digs on the other, and on several occasions the two candidates nearly came to blows. The most known of the two was a shouting match in the middle of the Burger Shack's lunch crowd. The race for the Kate's Crossing School.
Oh my god, and the Burger Shack is the restaurant those serial killers ran. Oh my god. Yeah, the Burger Shack is from The Children Under the Stairs. Oh god, this is good. I got the red string. Let's go.
Burger Shack's lunch crowd.
Wait, what? Yeah, no. The Burger Shack was like the front for the serial killers in Kate's Crossing. They worked out of the Burger Shack. I guess maybe they weren't serial killers, they were like human traffickers, but they wound up killing a lot of kids. Yeah, it's just interesting to see how they all connect, you know?
The race for the Kate's Crossing School Board had never been so exciting.
Shakespeare, if you're enjoying this, you should watch the videos I put up on the channel about going over the monument mythos. Those ones do this very, very well as well.
September 15th. Unfortunately, I think poo-poo hair is permanent. Great.
Oh no.
It'll probably end up on my tombstone.
Poor poo-poo hair. Oh no, he drew the tombstone. You didn't have to do that, kid. You didn't have to draw your poo-poo tombstone. No. Can you drop the link? The link, there's a playlist on the channel. I don't have the link handy, but if you go to the playlists on the Riverboat Jack YouTube page, they should be there. Most of the playlists are related to like analog horror stuff.
They even made up a song for me. He's got poo in his hair. It stinks and he doesn't care. So hold your nose when Daniel's near, or he'll bring your eyes a tear. Because he's got poo in his hair. Not gonna lie, it's catchy when a group sings it. I hate it here. I wish Dad would lose the election. Maybe we'd move somewhere better. Like anywhere on Earth. I'd even settle for someplace off-world too.
Is this foreshadowing? I feel like we're going in an alien direction. Like with the uncle staring off at the stars, I feel like we're talking about aliens, right?
Uncle Greg is still sleepwalking.
That trash rhyme was still better than any of the lyrics Ben Shapiro put out.
Every night I find him staring at the sky.
Nah, Kiwi Burb,
Still
if you're in
have
this
no
chat, you're
idea what he's
beautiful.
looking at. I've even found him out there in the rain. Dealing with him makes the mornings pretty hard. Makes class a little harder than I'd like. Thankfully, Dad's been focused on campaigning. Most of the time he's talking to people, putting signs on roads and whatever else. Mom's usually with him, so it's mostly Uncle Greg and me. Really, it's just me. Uncle Greg just stares at the television. Dad yelled
Nah,
at him
Gamer
last
G,
night
you're
because of
beautiful.
it. Dad really is loud when he wants to be. Typical Dad. Though the louder he gets, the more I think he cares.
Well, you're still beautiful,
Mom
Kiwi
says he
Burb.
has problems expressing himself.
Is this... I feel like the implications of throwing static into this right after the series on it living in the static, entities living in the static, I feel like this is significant. True, Crystal Hazer, I feel you. Kids threatened to kill me in elementary school, so I feel you. The layering effect that they added here is really good. I'm enjoying it.
September 17th.
Just remember, in the previous series, spirits lived in television static, so I'm wondering... Yeah.
Well, today was a weird one. Found Uncle Greg talking to the TV.
Oh,
Just
fuck.
had static on the screen. Weird. I asked him who he was talking to. He got mad at me because I couldn't hear it. He grabbed me, said the voices were telling him to do things he didn't want to do. Eventually went back to watching TV. I think Uncle Greg had a nervous breakdown or something.
Oh,
September
no.
18th. I had to jot this down.
I'm
the moment
Uncle
I
Greg,
woke up, or
no.
I might have forgotten about it. Last night I had this weird dream, but it didn't feel like a dream. It was so clear, like a memory. It happened around midnight, I think. It started with a low hum. It got louder and louder until this bright red light blasted through the window. And that's when he appeared. At first I thought, oh my God, Peter Pan is in my bedroom. He was floating there. He was green.
Oh,
Peter
that's
Pan was an alien.
that's kind of a cute little guy.
He had no mouth I could see, but I could hear him speaking to me. Some of it felt like words, but mostly I remember images. Confusing but intense images.
The following images are in the order in which Daniel arranged them.
Wait, what? No, not Grunkle. Okay, wait, is this Daniel? Is Mike Singer evil?
And then he left. That morning, Uncle Greg woke me up. There was a weird glow in his eyes. He smiled. Told me, now you see them too.
Oh, the static. Shit. Okay, so clearly they're communicating through the static, right? Through the static TVs. That's something we've seen before. If they're communicating through the static, I'm wondering if... No, they wouldn't be like spirits. That wouldn't make sense. I feel like the red scribble he drew was like the red static in the first one. Yeah, I was kind of wondering if like either that meant like kill or like they were being influenced by some sort of undead entity. And I got the impression that Mike Singer is like a very dangerous individual, right? And I'm just trying to note, like, because Mike Singer, right, worked for Dunnington Construction, and Dunnington Construction is made up of cultists who worship the sinkhole that appeared near Kate's Crossing. And the sinkhole was actually like an entity from like the end of time moving backwards to try and annihilate all life. And I'm wondering if these aliens are here and trying to organize some kind of resistance against this cult because of kind of maybe galactic or even universal implications of this entity moving backwards. I wonder if the static is like a catch-all dimension, like it could be both an afterlife but also an intersection of different realms or something. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, because we know that like when spirits are present, they're largely invisible, and usually they don't require static in order to talk. But for some reason in the previous one, it did require static. So I'm wondering if like there's something about static that serves as like a catalyst for like maybe dimensional or reality bending communication. Interesting. But are there special trees? Not that I know of yet. Yeah, I don't know if it takes into account, maybe the static we're seeing is not the cosmic background radiation. Peepo's evil broke into their house and now they can communicate with Peepo through the static. I think that is what we're going to see. But I don't know what he means by choose. Does he mean like choose either to align himself with Mike Singer or with the aliens? That seems to be the implication, but I'm not entirely sure. Does that mean the sinkhole was one of the backwards many if it was moving back through time to wipe out life? Yes. The backwards many, I believe, are connected with the sinkhole entity. I think that they operate along similar lines. We haven't seen much about the backwards many, but I'm wondering if that's going to come up and be relevant again soon, because we got very little about them, and that's kind of crazy. But I don't think the sinkhole was one of the backwards many. I think the sinkhole is like a different entity, but operating along similar principles. There were vids of people moving backwards? Yeah. Because I don't think people are the only thing that come from the backwardsness. God. Vintage 8, I don't remember who told me that Vintage 8 gets better over time, but it really builds on itself. Like, I feel like some of these, like, work really well as standalones, but others of them really only come into their own when you have the ability to make the connections to all the other ones. It's really great.
Teachers were usually quite fond of Daniel. They often called him the ideal student. He was well-mannered and his grades were consistently the highest in his class. However, Daniel had trouble fitting in with other children since the beginning of his education. He was never interested in the same things that his peers were, and Daniel often felt more comfortable around adults.
September 19th. Thank God it's Saturday. Or at least it would be if I didn't have to help Dad campaigning. Putting up signs doesn't bother me, but I'd rather not be paraded around as some sort of lost cause. Defending your kids as if they were my own. Can you guess how he came up with that one? At least it did get my mind off last night. It was hard not to obsess over it. Strange, it didn't scare me. Everything scares me, but Peter didn't. I could tell that it cared for me. It wanted my friendship, I think. It was like it was family. Like a long-lost cousin, maybe.
I'm wondering if this does connect back to, like, the backwards many, but in a different way. Maybe Daniel is actually one of the like god-blooded, you know? Because remember, part of what the backwards many were trying to do was, like, assassinate anyone with, like, without a counterpart in the backwards dimension. You know? And maybe Daniel is someone who doesn't have a counterpart in the backwards dimension. Maybe that's why these aliens are especially interested in him. And why he feels a certain kinship with them. Maybe there's like a ancient blood relation. I don't know exactly how that would work, but I'm spitballing here.
He was right, too. I was understanding the images better. Peter wanted me to come with them. Where? I have no idea. But definitely away from here. Can't lie. Sounds like a big plus to me. It was clear that they did something to Uncle Greg, Dad, and me. That's why I don't fit in with other kids. And I like other kids. Something else. Part of me must be like Peter. Honestly, it's kind of a relief. At least I have a reason to feel so alien. If I stay, I would have a chance at a normal life. But do I even want that? Would I ever want that? Maybe not. But I don't want to hurt my parents. But why? Were we just experiments? Why was Dad and me considered a success and Uncle Greg a failure? Poor Uncle Greg. Even the aliens give him a hard time. And what about Mom? Did they experiment on her too? If so, what did they do to her? If not, why? And then there's the danger. I don't think they understand what's going on between Mr. Singer and Dad. I can see why they would think it was a dangerous situation.
I don't think that
Earlier today, we saw Mr. Singer tossing some.
I don't think the aliens are interested in Mike Singer because he's running for school board, kid.
Dad's campaign signs into the woods.
The previous parts of this should be on the playlist, but I'm not sure if all of them have been edited yet because I've been I need to catch up on the editing. A lot of them should be.
Dad, of course, exploded. He follows him into the burger shack, screaming loud, very loud. Dad called him a lot of ugly things that can be found in the dictionary. To his credit, Singer just laughed it off. That's when Dad pulled him close. I heard him mention something about the Dunnington Construction Company. I couldn't understand anything except something about exposing it. Whatever. This sounds stupid. That set Mr. Singer off. It's kind of embarrassing to watch. But if you did see it, I'm sure you thought they were going to kill each other.
Okay, so Daniel's dad knows either about the cult at Dunnington Construction or about the sinkhole entity itself.
September 20th. I waited all night for Peter to come, but he never did. September 21st. Nothing to report. Still nothing from the aliens. September 22nd. Nope. September 23rd. Maybe he's not coming back. September 24th. No alien, but today was a big one. I don't know if I just had enough or if I was just tired, but when Jake pushed me today, I just snapped. I hit him. I never hit anybody before, but I finally hit him. I broke his nose. I even cracked one of his ribs. He tried to fight back, but he moved so slowly. It was easy. It really surprised me. Why did I wait so long to stand up for myself?
Yay, childhood violence! Yay!
One of the kids finally pulled me off. That was the first time I really saw what I did. Jake was crying, his face was covered in blood. Lots of blood. I just knew Dad was going to be proud of me. I got suspended for 3 days. Doesn't seem fair. I suffer from moss and nothing happens. But the moment I defended myself, I get suspended. I hate this place so much. So what if he had to go to the hospital? Maybe next time he'll think twice before giving someone a swirly. With that, he was anything but proud.
Oops.
Angry, mad, hot-headed, insane, crazy. Those words probably described him a lot better. He said I may have ruined his chances at school board. Wow. Thanks, Dad. Glad to know where I rank. And Mom, she was no better. The only thing she cared about was the hospital bills. I guess it was better for everybody when I was bullied. That night, Peter came back. I have questions. So basically, Peter asked me to choose between my Earth family and my newly discovered alien one. After the awful day I had, only one choice made sense. I chose the one that wanted me. I chose Peter. He replied with a bright red light. It struck me in the forehead.
Aw, dude. That can't be good. Uncle Greg was scared of these guys.
My head was flooded with so many things. I couldn't process everything. It was just too much. Uncle Greg burst into my room. He swung a bat at Peter. Green blood splattered across the wall.
Oh shit.
I think Peter died instantly.
Oh shit, Uncle Greg. Uncle Greg, you killed him. You killed him with a baseball bat. Oh my god. I was not expecting that.
Last thing I remembered before I blacked out was Uncle Greg. He was glaring at me. I've never been scared of Uncle Greg before. And after what he did to Peter, I really thought he was going to kill me.
Okay, so I wonder if Uncle Greg is under the influence of something. Like clearly, like Daniel and his dad are under the influence of these aliens, but I wonder if Greg is under the influence of something else already. Like something got to Greg first. So the aliens are physically here with Daniel, but they're communicating through like mental images with occasional words. But it seemed like Greg was communicating with something in the television static. So I don't think the aliens are communicating with Greg. Something else might be communicating with Greg. Is Uncle Greg Lawyer Greg? I don't think Uncle Greg is a lawyer. This might be like two different factions at play. Yeah, given what we know is in the static, it can't be good. The sound design is great too. I love the tracks they're choosing here.
Even though I was unconscious, my mind was still receiving images. I saw things I could never dream of, and different viewpoints of things I thought I understood. It was both amazing and terrifying. I saw why they considered Uncle Greg a failure. His DNA didn't meld with theirs successfully. It caused him issues. This may seem cruel, but Peter's people are far from cruel. They are beyond war, greed, indifference. Us. They tried to repair their mistakes, but apparently it didn't work. Uncle Greg just became more withdrawn, depressed, unpredictable.
Aw,
But he's still in tune with them. He can hear them speaking when they are near. And Dad, they asked Dad to go with them years ago. He chose to stay. Wow, I wouldn't be here if he decided to go. They wiped his mind so he wouldn't remember. And then they just waited for me.
Where are they going though?
We're not the first. They have done this before. Many, many times. And in many other families. Other species, planets, and for thousands of years. It really is incredible. Basically, they're collectors. They look for qualities they like in other species and then add it to their own. It's how they choose to evolve.
That seems like you're in a lot of danger, buddy. Sounds like they're planning to consume you. They're like Pokemon trainers.
I can see why they're drawn to Kate's Cross.
They're kind of like Pokemon trainers if the Pokemon trainers also like abducted and then like fucked the Pokemon.
They keep a close eye on it. I believe it's a prison for the first and last enemy. That's why this place sucks.
Oh shit. Okay. So basically the entity from the very beginning of time and the entity from the very end of time are both sealed in Kate's Crossing. What does that mean? Well, I guess it stands to figure that if there's an entity from the very end of time, there would be an entity from the very beginning of time. I feel like we're learning a lot right now. Peepo's evil? I don't know if Peepo's evil. They might just be unaligned. Is that the sinkhole?
Peter's death shocked them. They rarely die violently. I can still feel their loss, their hurt. Millions upon millions continue to mourn him. And that's when I woke up. Uncle Greg was standing over me. I figured this was the end. I thought the danger warning was about Mr. Singer, but now I think they were talking about Uncle Greg. I always thought he was harmless, but what he did to Peter wasn't harmless. Does that mean he's going to do the same thing to me if he finds out I'm one of them?
Alien, I tossed it into the woods. Don't need to freak out your dad. Seems to remain our little secret. Most people get freaked out when you talk about aliens, okay? Do you understand?
The next day I was sick. Every muscle ached. Was I dying?
Has any episode explained why Kate's Crossing in particular? This is honestly the closest to an explanation we've gotten so far. This being kind of like the birthplace of both the first and last entities. I guess that would be the closest explanation we have so far.
I immediately noticed things were different. I could hear things I couldn't before. Thoughts? I knew things I should. Things that shouldn't be possible. I was changing. 2 more aliens came that night. They told me to say my goodbyes, and that they would return at the end of the year to retrieve me. Earlier, if there was a problem. I immediately wondered if I made the right decision. I felt selfish for a moment, but just for a moment. The things I would see and do were just impossible to pass up. And then they were gone. September 27th. Home, in bed. I still feel awful, but I'm moving around. Parents aren't speaking to me.
Why? Why they evil?
September 28th. Second day of my 5-day suspension. Mom had me doing chores. She didn't say much, but I could hear some of her thoughts. She was thinking about the vacation we would have to cancel due to Jake's hospital bills. Worth it. Day 3, dusted the furniture. I noticed Uncle Greg has been watching me. Does he suspect something? I tried to read his mind, but I couldn't. We went to the grocery store after lunch. I couldn't read any stranger's mind either. I guess I need practice.
Hey, Trans Girl Jade.
September
how you doing?
30th, day 4. War campaigning with Dad. Fun. He didn't say much, but I heard him loud and clear. Last day of suspension. Rake the leaves in the morning, then back on the campaign trail with Dad in the afternoon. We ran into Singer again. He actually apologized to Dad. It was shockingly nice. Too nice. He even took us to a late lunch.
I really dislike Mike.
I'm starting to think the reason it's easier to read my parents' minds is because they're my parents. But I was getting something from this guy. Every time he said something nice, it felt like an insult. The nicer he acted, the more it bothered me. But I kept trying, and then it happened. A stray thought from Mr. Singer's head popped into mine. It'll be all over soon. Something about that comment felt wrong.
Ooh, done being gay? Hell yeah. What we watching? We're watching The Children with Black Eyes, the new another vintage analog horror from Vintage 8. If Greg could read Daniel's mind before and now can't, it would be suspicious. True. True. This was really fun. How much have I missed? We're a good way through it at this point. About 40-ish minutes in. Got about another 10, 15 minutes left. The Long Goodbye.
October 3rd. And just like that, everything was back to normal. Uncle Greg started acting normal. Mom took me to Blockbuster for movie night. Been a while since we did one of those. Dad apologized for making the fight about the election. A rare cool move from Dad. At dinner time, they even told me that they were proud that I finally stood up for myself. However, breaking Jake's ribs was a step too far.
What? They tell you this. They tell you this like after like a month of making you feel terrible about it. Oh my God! It's October 3rd. Wait, what's the significance of that?
Fair enough. We can agree to disagree. For a brief moment, we were all kind of normal. It was nice. But it's easier to leave mad. Much easier. But I know there's no going back on choosing Peter's people. I'm changing, and eventually the outside will match what's happening on the inside. I hope Dad wins the election. I hope Mom gets to travel more. I'm not sure if it's against the rules, but I'm gonna come back and visit them. One way or another, I'm gonna make sure they are okay.
Spoiler alert, he didn't. Should we be writing down dates? Honestly, I feel like I should be too. I feel like nothing important, it's a meme from Mean Girls. God damn it. But I feel like establishing a timeline would probably be a really good idea of like dates and names. I think it could help us make a more coherent, like, what's happening, you know? Who's got the red yarn? Yeah. Time to break it out. Time to make the wiki.
Even school was pleasant. The kids were actually friendly for once. Everybody was so amazed at what I did to Jake. They all gave me high fives in the lunchroom. I even got high fives from Jake's friends. Why did everyone wait until I decided to leave to be friends? I guess that's my fault. I shouldn't have let a bully scare me away from the world. October 5th, and just when I thought things were getting back to normal, Uncle Greg returned to his old ways. Uncle Greg lunged at me during breakfast. "Why are they coming for you?" he asked over and over. Dad forced him off of me. Surprised Mom didn't have a heart attack. They fought until Dad threw him out.
Damn. Damn.
Dad told him to leave or he'd call the cops. Uncle Greg started crying. "I have to protect you. Don't you understand? I have to protect you now." He repeated himself until he finally got in his truck and left. Later that night, we got a call that Uncle Greg was making a scene at a bar. Sounded like he was pretty drunk. They called the cops and threw him in jail as a favor to Dad. Politics. They said he'd be out in the morning. Poor Uncle Greg.
Trans girl Jade.
BTW Jack. This is my daily message to let you know that you look really pretty tonight. BWA 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 BWA.
Thank you so much for the $10 dono, trans girl Jade. The first dono in like an hour. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Also, did you used to have a yellow name? Am I tripping? Was that a Mandela effect? It's okay. I was just like, visually. I appreciate you. Thanks. I did. It got overridden by a gifted sub. No! I'm sorry. I didn't know that happened. You can definitely message the support if that's something you need sorted out. I can't do anything about it on my end. All good? Okay. Cassifel, thank you for subscribing over on Twitch. I appreciate you. Thank you so goddamn much. Hope you're doing all right. Justice for trans girl Jade. I appreciate you, and you always bring such a great energy to chat, trans girl Jade. How you doing? I'm doing good. Are we watching an ARG? We're watching an analog horror series from a channel called Vintage 8. And they have numerous analog horror series that all kind of grow on each other and like expand a universe. It's kind of an ARG, sort of, but mostly it's just cool shit. And you're coming in at the tail end of one, so I apologize if it's a bit confusing.
October 6th. Great day. For me, at least. Dad tried to have a talk with Uncle Greg at the Burger Shack. It didn't go well.
I like that Uncle Greg's face
Uncle
just
Greg
continually
yelled at
gets more
Dad,
squiggles
told him
on
that
it.
he didn't understand what was going on. He apparently told Dad that the black-eyed kids they saw as kids were real, and that I might be one of them.
He's just a funny little guy, see? Just a silly little guy.
Dad, of course, didn't believe any of it, but I could tell he was shaken. Uncle Greg is his brother, after all. Dad confessed that he hadn't thought about those nightmares in years. I asked him what made them so scary. He just shook his head and told me to forget about it. But I could see in his head. He remembers the experiments. Pieces, but he remembers. October 7th, more campaigning. I noticed a green spot on my back. I guess my true self is revealing itself. Last night I saw Uncle Greg staring at the house. He was far away and at the foot of the driveway. But that was him glaring in my direction. It's like he's waiting on something.
Creepy.
Probably me. Or my new family. Creepy.
I thought Uncle Greg was gonna be the fun uncle. The funkle.
But I could hear a thought in the distance. Protection. October 7th continued. I woke to find Uncle Greg standing over me. He broke in. He grabbed me by the hand and yanked me out of the room.
Oh shit.
He wrapped my face in tape before I could scream.
You know, from Uncle Greg's perspective, this makes sense.
I fought and fought, but we were outside the house before I knew it. He tossed me into the bed of his truck and whispered to me that he was going to keep me safe. I never felt more afraid. In my mind, I screamed for him to stop, and then he did. I demanded he untie me. He did. It was weird. For a second, he was like a toy. I told him to leave, and he did. I could feel his confusion, but I told him everything was okay. He didn't need to come back. And in his mind, he agreed. I think he was relieved. October 8th, Peter's people came back early. I have to go. I cried, I protested, but they said something was wrong. I told them I didn't think Uncle Greg was gonna hurt me, but they said Uncle Greg wasn't the concern.
Oh?
I can see their thoughts. Danger. It's not Uncle Greg, but I felt it before. I asked to warn my parents, but they tell me it's already too late. I heard something. Was that a gun?
Oh, did Mike kill his parents? Did they shoot Uncle Greg?
That was the last journal entry from Daniel Peterson. Nothing about October 8th appeared unusual. Wendy spent most of the day running errands and helping the church. Harold met several clients that morning, then campaigned for school board the rest of the afternoon. Even Daniel reportedly had a quiet day. Greg Peterson spent the day visiting the many bars of downtown Cades Crossing. No one reported him being in any trouble. Later that night, Harold and Wendy Peterson were shot point-blank range with a shotgun. The coroner estimated that the time of death was about 2:30 a.m. The weapon nor their son have ever been found. Greg Peterson was found wandering the woods 2 days later. He claimed that the black-eyed children left him there, as well took his nephew. Traces of Harold Peterson's blood were found on his clothes. During the trial, the defense filed a motion stating that Greg Peterson was not fit to stand trial. The motion failed. The defense went on to argue that the evidence was
I don't think it was Greg.
circumstantial. Greg Peterson was found guilty and given the death penalty. He was executed in 2002. And then the Peterson sad story fell into the macabre history of Kate's Crossing, leaving only the urban legend of otherworldly visitors.
I think it was Mike.
However, in 2019, the Peterson story resurfaced. Mike Singer, now retired, reportedly called the police and told them that he saw Daniel Peterson. He was grown but not human. His skin looked green and his eyes appeared black. He told the police, "Daniel knows, and he's come back for me." When the police investigated, they found Mr. Singer had hung himself in his office. His now famous suicide note confessed to hiring a pair of thugs to murder the Petersons. He went on to explain that he was blackmailed by the now infamous Dunnington Construction, and he needed to be in a position to approve their bids for new school projects. He concluded his note with "Beware the children with black eyes."
Okay, but the children with black eyes actually seemed pretty chill. Right? Like they weren't actually that scary. They were just kind of like here to make more of themselves, you know? They're also that's like a real conspiracy theory? The only person who came back was Daniel, and Daniel just wanted the revenge for, you know, him murdering the parents. That was great. 10 out of 10. I feel like these analog horrors aren't as, like, they succeed in being unnerving, but the conclusions are usually something like, oh, all right. You know, like the New Home for Mr. Barrington. That one stressed me out, and I was tense the entire time. But then at the very end, like, I was like, oh, all right. This didn't end how I thought it would, you know? They are a real conspiracy theory. Black-eyed children. American contemporary legend are paranormal creatures that resemble children between the ages of 6 to 16, pale skin, black eyes, reportedly seen hitchhiking or begging, or encountered on doorsteps of residential homes. Let's see. But like they don't really seem to be doing anything or harming anybody. I mean, honestly, this just seems like they're kind of weird looking kids. Like, they're supposed to be evil and malicious as fuck. They don't kill people, but they love to torment people. Ah, I gotcha. Yeah, kind of. It's kind of Goosebumps level. I enjoy it.